Heat.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to wait a few minutes. I know I'm a little bit late today. It's been so long since I've been on that they didn't want to let me in. So we'll just give it a few minutes here and see if we've got anybody on with us. So be sure to comment and tell us where you're coming in from. It's been a long time since I've been with you, and I've got a lot to share tonight. So what I'm going to be talking about tonight is quite a variety of things, and been having a lot of fun regarding all of the new things that we have and the ability to even now add embroidery. And that's the first thing that I'm going to talk about tonight is what we call EmbroideLee. Now, this is what we call the lookbook. It has a picture and a design and what you're going to be doing with it. And this comes to you on a stick. So as you can see, I've got my stick here that has all of these designs. Now, this particular one is one that goes along with our sampler set. So you can see it's the Starter Sampler Embroidery Series. And you'll recognize this is from the Spinifex 4, but that's an embroidery design. And so we have a lot of opportunities to use our embroidery to add with our templates. So what I'm doing tonight is I'm in the block designs, and I chose to do the block that's the Spinning Wheels 36. So that what you see here, it comes in 3 different sizes: 7 3/4 by 7 3/4, 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So even if you have the smallest hoop, which is the 4x4 in most cases, you're going to be able to do these designs. And then we have some companion designs, and there's a whole lot of opportunity here. So this is kind of just going to get your creativity a little bit wet so that we can then start doing this on a regular basis. So I'm hoping to turn what we're doing here tonight into an actual class. Now, what I've already done, because this is embroidery, I found my middle, I put it on my embroidery machine, I loaded the design, and as you can see, this is the one that finished up 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. So I'm just measuring the largest area, and so that's what that finished up. Well, what I did is I went ahead and did my embroidery, and so I am going to pull this back because I've already kind of spray basted it down, but I want you to see that I just did it through my batting, and I think you can see my design there. So that way I don't have to worry about what this looks like on the back. So I just put stabilizer in my hoop, and I brought it over here to show you. So I had my stabilizer, it was a tearaway, in my hoop. After I got finished, because I like to use the based out where it based around your design, you might be able to see, because I've not pressed those out yet, you might be able to see that. But I remove those basting threads before I pull it out. Then I pull it out of my hoop. This was the only thing that was actually placed in the hoop, was my tearaway. And so I can then pull that out. I got this so that I have my line still here. so that I know where my center is. And I started by measuring out from the center and then drawing that, because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to kind of do a different way of quilt as you go. So I'm going to be taking these, laying them right on that line there. Well, I guess it's actually this line. And then I'm going to stitch 1/4 of an inch, and this will lay back so that I will be making my actual larger quilt block so that I can then do embroidery or template quilting in that. So let's see here what measurement I got, because I've forgotten. And I have, I'm going from the wrong end there. I have 7 1/4. So I want to make sure I've got that to put on all of them. Yep. And 7, I need to move that one just a little bit. So I've already sprayed this before I ever started. So I can still make my marks here. And I will be able to press those off. Now I can tell you, I had the opportunity to work with this while we were at festival, and this is going to bring so much more to your ruler work. So I hope, especially since you most all have the sampler set, that you will get this and get going with it, because it is so much fun. So here we go. I've got to draw this line. And I think that one was fine. So I think I've got them all here. Nope, this one needs it a little different. All right. So I'm going to use this one. I'll mark it that way because I don't want to make extra marks on that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to trade out my foot here and get my 1/4 inch foot. And we will proceed. Megan's not with me, so if you've got questions, I'll try to answer them as I see them come up. I have missed you guys so much, and that sounds so crazy. You know, I was watching a Hallmark movie earlier today, and some of you may have seen it too, but it was talking about friends you've never met. And that's truly what I consider all of you, friends I've never met. And it's been so much fun, as I have been out traveling, to meet many of you. And then there's a lot who say, well, you won't know me because I don't say much on the lives, or I don't ask any questions or whatever. And it's like, oh, come on, join me in the conversation so I can get to know who you are. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. All right. So what I'm going to be doing now is I am going to piece these triangles. Now you might be saying, so how did you decide what size they are? They're 12 1/2 just because that's what my square up was. So let's go ahead. And what I'm going to do is put this underneath. And when I do this, I'm actually centering this point right out there, because that's straight through the other one. So yes, I'm going to have extra, but you'll see what I'm going to do with that. I will be able to actually work with that. So now I've got that laid in place, and I'm just going to come back here. I want to make sure I've got it on my correct line, and I do. And I picked this fabric because it's not necessarily Christmas or snow or whatever, but you can see how it kind of mimics the design that we're using. So I thought that would be a good one. And yes, I know I've got way too much of a square. But when I couldn't get on fast enough tonight, I thought I better just go ahead and use that size and then trim it up later because I was already late to the show. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to pull this back. And if I weren't on this, I would go ahead and go press it. But I'm just going to pull that back like so. I think I'm really going to like what this is going to do. And I did my best to get it so that those squares were going to be lined up. So we're going to take this and go that way. You'll notice I'm doing opposite sides. I'm catching that right in the center there, lining that up, making sure I got my correct line here. And yes, I'm fully aware that that back stitching is going to show on the back. But I don't think my table or my wall that has to look at it will care one bit. So I hope you guys have been sharing your projects and things on EmbroideLee by me. I try to check in there every day. Can't believe how close we are to Christmas. My daughter put up a tree and she put it in her little den. And I said, I think that's all it's probably going to happen this year. We've got decorations on the porch. We've got that tree. And that way I have more time to play around and sew. One year we were on the our city had they don't have it anymore, but they had a home tour and asked us if we would do it. And I honestly started decorating that year in September. And I had 8 full-size trees in the house. And I don't know how many more little trees. And after that, I was kind of like, seriously, do I really want to put all that time into it? Because it takes a ton of time, as many of you well know. And I'm one of those people that is more a giving person. And I love to make things and give them. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on this year. Do you see how this is developing so that I can still go on and make this a larger? I'm thinking maybe I should have. I think I will. I'm just going to go back. It won't matter for the first ones because they're underneath. But I'm going to go back and make this one go all the way so I can have a larger design. Cut that right there. And we'll come down, put that needle in. All right. So now I'll have even more area to work in. I love it how it's turning out here. You see how, because I made sure of where I was cutting, I have a smooth, even with that printed fabric there. So I'm going to put this one in the center up there. I'm going to line this up. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to encourage you to go back. I know they're playing all weekend, and rewatch some of the videos from this week. I know we had one on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and introducing some of the new templates and products that we have. I'm going to reiterate a couple of those tonight because I want you to be able to get some and use them for your Christmas projects. So it looks like, I think, our Canadian friends, I think Nula's sharing that for our Canadian friends. I hope there are others of you from around the world that are logging in and getting on. I imagine that some of the things I'm going to show, the different dealers that carry our projects around the country will be having those in stock. So now that I've got this on, you can see how this is kind of a quilt as you go, just because of the fact that I had that as a square with an already stitched design. And then I took those squares or I took two squares that were 12.5, cut them on the diagonal after I starched them, because whenever you're cutting on the bias, which is what a diagonal is, you definitely want to make sure you starch it so it won't stretch out as you're going. Now this is laying pretty nice here as I'm working with that. And so I really don't think I need to do anything else except I'm going to get my spray and spray this down. Now it doesn't matter this fabric behind there, but if you wanted to cut that off, you certainly can. But it's not going to hurt anything back there. It's just an extra layer. There are no seams in it. So hang on just a second. Now the thread I used for my embroidery, let me just go ahead and do this real quick. I'm just going to spray a little bit underneath there, so that holds that nice and flat. Make sure you have everything protected. You don't want to get anything on your sewing machine, your sewing foot, or anything like that. So just make sure you've got that all protected. Some of you are probably wondering about my fabric. I do have some. You can email me and we'll see if we can get you set up if you're interested in any of that. Uh-oh. When it falls in the trash, go for it, because you might forget and not get it later. So let me get this out of the trash. There we go. All right. So now that I've got that all stitched, I'm going to take this foot off so we can go to ruler work. Now, option. We have a ton of options with this. What I'm going to do is I am going to actually use my Spinning Wheels 36, although I'm telling you, you can get out that EmbroideLee again, and you can make it so that it's right on this corner too with embroidery. So there's a lot of things that you can do with that. You may have some friends that aren't ready to jump into ruler work, but they might be interested in doing this kind of embroidery. So this could be a way you could introduce them to that. Now the thread I'm using is a little bit on the teal side, so it matches more of this right around here. So it's going to show up, but not a lot. And that's pretty much what I want to do with it. So since I want to center a design, I'm going to get that centering ruler here, line that up, and I'm going to draw a line right out to that corner. So let's go ahead and get one over here. You want to make sure you center it all the way from the middle there. So let's get that Spinning Wheels 36 out. And you know what's interesting? I'm going to use my regular size because I know that's what most of you have, but I have the whole set. If you're not aware, you can get this whole set to those sizes. I think it goes clear up to 9.5, maybe even 11.5. I'm not certain. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my crosshair square, and I'm going to lay it on there. This happens to be my one that went with my Starry Nights kit, so it's got a lot of extra lines. I'm going to just need this one that I've already drawn, this one here, and then the one that's just there because it's a seam. So we're going to go that way, and I'll go back over here. So I'm going to put that right there. I usually only have to make that one time, but because it's kind of a matching color and I knew you wouldn't be able to see it, I went a little heavier. So I'm going to be using my pen right there. So it's the intersection of that line and this line. And when we use this way, we don't want anything going into there. So I'm going to be starting here and coming to B, and then rotating so that I don't have anything in there. So let's come right up here to our spot. We want to pull that thread up, get it right in that seam there. I remember meeting you, Sandra. I see that you said you bought them at the Houston Festival. I think you're going to really have a lot of fun with these. And for those of you that didn't know what we were talking about, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this tonight, because I know that you can do some pretty quick and easy Christmas projects and still say that, you know, you did ruler work on them. So I'm going to turn this so we can all see what we're doing here. And I'm coming to B. I'm rotating to that next line just like I would have. And so then when I come around here, I'm going to stop right there. And I'm going to pull that needle up, pull that thread out and back to that spot. Put the needle back down and bring up that bobbin thread. So now I have my bobbin thread pulled up. There it comes. The one that's still moving is the one that I'm going to cut. And I'm going to cut my needle thread. So now when I take that off of there, all I need to do is go back and tie these. Now I'll tie these two so that those of you that haven't seen it before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my two fingers, flip them around, and pull the tail through. I'm not going to tie it down yet. I'm going to use the point of my needle. It's a self-threading needle. And I'm pulling this down so that when I get down here close to 1/4 of an inch, I let go of my needle. And now my knot is clear out here. So then when I put that thread in, and in this case, I love it because I can just go right in that little seam between those two and bury that thread. Whoops, got it back in under too far. And I'm going to pull this out. And you can see the knot right there probably, but not now because it went right back in. And so that makes everything in your embroidery so nice and neat and clean. So you can see we have got that design there. I'm going to do it one more time, but I'm going to tie this off first. You want to make sure you leave your threads long enough so that you can tie it off. Go through the loop, right down so that you've left a little bit of space. And again, I'm going right in that fold or crease that's been made by that seam there. Wow, that knot already went through. So I'm just going to cut that thread there. And so I hope that you can see we've got that embellishment there. It's also working to hold our fabric down. It matches what we have in here. And I've got this one ready to go. So let's just quickly do that for those that want to see it again. So I'm setting my 36, spinning wheels 36 on there. I'm lining up that line. I'm going right into where, remember I've always told you, never put your foot down while it's right beside your template. And I'm going to go right in that crease. And I'm going to lift it up, floss underneath to get my bobbin thread out. And now we're going to go to B. We're going to move it. And right there we have that next line. Move it one more time. Oops, I started to go back. I don't know where I think I'm going. Move it again. And one last time. Needle up, pull away to get your thread, and go right back in. Needle down, needle up, foot up. There we come. And get a hold of that thread. And now I've got my 2 threads here. Did I cut my needle thread? I think I didn't. There we go. All right. So we've got 2 of those done. And this is where I'm going to introduce you to another one of our new templates. And that is the angel wings. So now I'm going to tell you, I have yet to do anything that looks angelish with those wings. I'm really liking them though, because there's some really cool stuff you can do with them. So let me show you what they look like. I'm trying to think where I put my embroidery stick. I sure don't want to lose that. So I'm going to get a piece of black here so that I can show you these. This is the angel wing template, okay? And when you first look at it, you think, oh, yeah, there's the angel. That's not an angel at all. This is just wings. There is no reason to think of that as an angel other than it's kind of deceiving because of what you see there. So here's the template. I have 4 keys for it. I have this key that will allow you to come in here and truly like just make an angel wing or a border or whatever, but it truly looks like an angel wing. And about 20 years ago, I made these angels that fit on top of a ball jar. And this would have been perfect because we made a padded, batting filled wing shape. And then we had to go back and do just like some curves in it. This would have been perfect for that. Anyway, that's one key. Then we have this key. And so this key will make this shape right here. Well, what on earth am I going to do with those, Donelle? Oh, I can't wait to show you. This is the big one right here. That will make like this shape here. And I'm going to show you these on some plain fabric, but I'm going to do this one first. And then there's this one. I got to turn it over because I put that on the wrong side there. Okay, so this is going to go into this like that. And I found out that you really got to watch taping this down because if it's not good and flat, you'll have problems. And you can see my tape there kind of went underneath. So let's get that off of there. How big is the angel template on each side? I think what you're meaning is from here to here. So let's see what we got. It is 7.5 inches. So from corner to corner, that's 7.5, and down here it's 7.5. All right. So what we're going to do with this is we are kind of going to frame up what we've already done as part of our design. So in other words, rather than just keep adding more and more of the same, let me get my templates out of the way or my keys there. We're going to decide where to put this. You can see my design ends right there. And I've got this shape here that I can work with. Now, I've still got that line I drew that I'm going to put that on. And I don't want my stitching to touch that. So I'm backing it off just a little bit more so that it'll come down to there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take that and I'm going to measure it. It looks to me like it's 1/2 inch, which is what I want. Ooh, lucky me. I got it right on the first try. And then what I'm going to do is on that line, I'm simply going to pick one of these to rotate on. It doesn't matter which one it is, but I just want to be able to get down in that spot. So I see my little dot. It's right there. So I'm going to take this pen and I'm going to put it in that spot so that I can put my template and hold it in place. Now, I can obviously do more with that, but I'm using it right now just as a lineup. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and I'm going to come right to this edge. And I'm going to take, because most likely I'm going to put another border around this, okay? So I'm just going to come right to the edge. I'm going to go ahead and pull my thread up. Put that foot back down. And then make sure I'm lined up over here. So I've got my line on my template. Let me pull you over just a little bit. I've got my line that's on my template right where I want it to be. Anchor my needle, hold this in place. And right where I have my fingers here is where I'm talking about, because this is not taped down. You could tape that down, but I can hold that down in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I'm going to show you how that made just a kind of nice little design. And I'm going to move it so that I can line it up again and get a perfect distance. So I've got this lined up on my line. I'm going to come back over here. Oops, wrong button. Well, what did I do? Or what did I not do, maybe is the question. There we go. All right. Let's get that lined up. Let's check back over here. So I bet you can see why I'm having fun and loving this template. Now I'm going to go ahead and just backstitch a couple stitches and cut it. And you will notice that I'm somewhat out of spots to keep moving. But that's not going to stop me because all I need to do is move this farther back. So I just need to decide, okay, I've got these so that they're a 1/2 inch apart. I'm fairly certain. So let me find my, oh, I think Mr. Musket took it. There it is. Okay, so we've got that. So when I did this to this, all I need to do, I didn't even think of that. All I need to do is measure the distance from this hole to this hole. So since that is, or was, right there, I am just going to move it that distance. Let me think a second. It's almost my backwards thinking here. Hang on. Those holes are 3/4 of an inch apart. That one is only, yep, 3/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark, I'm going to go to 1.5 inches and I'm going to mark 3/4. And in case I need another one, I'm down there. So let's just go ahead and put it clear out here. Get my template and decide where do I want it, because I can put it on, not that one, this one, and get the same spacing, which is what I want. And again, I'm looking at this line here. I will do one more after this, I think. And the reason I chose to show you this all tonight is because I'm pretty sure that these are on sale through the weekend. So get them while they're on sale. Just go on to the Sew Steady Facebook and see where that video is and see if they are, because I can go one more here. Oh, I just think this is so pretty. I guess I'm my own cheerleader tonight. You can let me know what you think too. So I'm lined up here. So all of those are the same distance apart. Well, that's what happens. Thank goodness I caught it when I did, because what I'll do is lift this out. Yep, I need to take that out, but all I need to do is I'm just going to go clear back to the beginning. I had warned you about that, and then I screwed it up. So we're going to go right back. This is why you want a good, sharp seam ripper. So you can just lift those stitches right out of there. Now, did I need to go clear back to the beginning? No. But it would have taken me longer to fix that than it is to do what I just did, because I was so close to the beginning on that one. I have to tell you guys, it's so funny what's going on here. I have one cat hiding in my sewing machine cover, and the other one is on the outside smacking her. But the sewing machine cover is padded. Some of you may have been here when we made that a couple of years ago. So she's not getting hurt at all. All right. Now, I can then do, I'm not going to, but I could then do one more that just has this on it. And the way I can do that would be to move that hole to right here. I guess I'll go ahead and do it. And then I will put this here. And because of the shape of this, all I need to do is turn it this way. So I'm going to turn it that way. And I'm going to stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and rotate it this way. And I'm going to stitch. And because it's all on that pen, it just makes it so much easier to hold everything in place. Now, yes, I'll flip it over so you can see the back. I don't know that that's going to make a whole lot of difference, simply because of the fact that we use the same color of thread. But I'm really liking how, of course, I've got threads here to fix, but how that is framing this up, so to speak. So here's the back side in that corner. I'm going to go ahead and turn this way and pull it forward so you can kind of get that perspective of what that looks like. Let me see if I can turn it straight down for you. So there you can see we've got the half of our 36, spinning wheel 36, and then I use the angel wings to make this kind of a bunting effect, or whatever you want to call it, out in this outer edge. So there's so many things you're going to be able to do with this. Now let's just show you a couple of those on a different piece of fabric where you can see those better. And those of you that are just joining us, yes, you can go back and watch the beginning. This is part of our new EmbroideLee option that you can purchase, where you're going to get all of the designs that are in this book that you can actually do embroidery. So this was an embroidery, and I'm building it out. And as most of you can tell, I've got plenty of room here that I can now put a border. When I get done doing all of this, put a border on it and make it even larger. All right, so let me put this. I'm really excited about this one, you guys. I really like the way that that's working, because so many times we feel like our stitching has to be in the forefront, and it doesn't. But yet on the way this is working, it's making it so that it's holding it down, but it's not having to continue all of the same design here. So I really like those angel wings. So let's get another piece of fabric here. And I'm actually going to change my thread to a white so that you can see it. And show you a couple of other ways you can use those angel wings. It was so funny because when Stacy sent those wings to me, I was like, what in the world am I going to do with this? And then once I got started, and again, of course, it was with using the stitching line disc and playing on paper, and I do call it playing because it truly is, that I got an idea for what to do with them. So, you know me, I'm going to probably figure out some borders and whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this here with a line. And I'm going to take that angel wing and I'm going to decide which of these insides am I going to use. I think this time I'm going to use the bigger one. So I'm going to set that in there. And as I said, you want to have it so it's holding down. So I'm just going to go straight to where I need to hold it down. Now you do not always need to use the pen. I will tell you that. I'm going to use the corner this time. You know what? I think if I put that pen on here, I think I just made a little bit of a discovery on my own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that right like that. I'm going to stitch. Now I would bring that thread up. And I'm going to stitch right to that area right there. And then I'm going to rotate this. And it's not going to work like I thought until I complete it down to that line. So that was not a smart move, Donelle. Let's try this again. There we go. Well, I'm going to show you something that'll look good either way. So I'm just going to come down to here to that line. And then I can rotate it. So you can see, if you ignore my outer one there, how this can become a border right there. Because all I would need to do then is if I wanted to continue this just like that on the rest of the way down, I would need to mark a mark. I would measure from the center. Let's just show you. I would find that center and I would measure this distance right here, and that is 5.5. So if I moved down, let's just cut this so you can see here. If I move down 5.5 and I put my pen there, I won't be able to do all of it, but I'll show you what I can. So you could go all the way along your marking and 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, or you could just do it every 11 because it's going to come out, or it's going to work. That's the best way I say it. Second one. So I'll just start right here since I can't go all the way. You're going to come right to that spot, and you could actually continue all the way down and then come back the other way. So you can see how you would be developing that design, because of the distance is definitely able to be measured to make that so that works. Now, I know some of you want to see that inside one that, as I said, is truly an angel wing. So let me just cut a couple threads off. I mean, this looks nice like that, but you would have to figure out what the deal is here, because I'm not a free motioner and I couldn't do that different distance there. So, all right. So the smallest one, or the one that's hardly there, looks like this. There's a lot of other things you can do. That's why these holes are in here too. So a lot of other things you can do with this. What did I do with my, there we go. So we're just going to take that, and I'm going to need a straight line to come back to that each time. And I'm going to start right there. And you would probably want to make a couple of notations of where you're starting and ending. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this for a sample. I'm going to move it down to the next one. Line up the lines. There's actually etchings on there. Come over here to this spot. If you were with me, I believe it was last year when I did the angel that was just like a silhouette. I'm thinking I'm going to try that again and use these wings. Haven't had a chance yet, as you can probably tell. I've been under the weather a little bit. So frustrating. Okay, so that came out. That one's not going to be far enough. There we go. There's so many possibilities. So isn't that pretty? Excuse me. All right. Last but not least tonight, I want to show you the new filler paddle. If you've not seen it, this is something that I designed that is going to be instantly available. I mean, instantly useful for those of you that had the Starry Nights. But it also works very well with a lot of other things too. We're going to make a little design here. With my background fills. And for those of you that haven't purchased my motifs for Christmas, excuse me, they are being modified so that they will have an opening like this. So they can be used that way too. Excuse me just a second. I'm going to get a drink. So if you had Starry Nights, you notice that all of those had an opening that looked just like that. And that's what they're going to be doing to change the Christmas motifs. Now, those of you that don't have it like that, you already have motifs, you can still use the outer rim tool to do that, because in this case, this paddle just fits right in that hole and holds it in place. So let's see here what we can do with this. I'll put that paddle in. There are numbers on the paddle. The numbers are only reference numbers. So if I was teaching you and you were all following along and I wanted you to put it on number 6, you could all put it on number 6. We're going to put our crosshair square on here first. And then I'm using one of my background fills. And I'm going to put it on the 3 in this case. Now, each time I'm just going to back stitch. I'm not going to take the time to tie it because I'm going to go around it twice. I'm going to move to the next one and repeat. This just makes it so much easier when you want to do a design that rotates so that you don't have to measure everything. And of course, if you get the Christmas motifs, you could take the Christmas tree or the stocking or whatever. I'll show you, give you a sneak peek of what I did the other day. And then you could go back and look at the live. Yeah, I was telling him the other day that when I'm doing something like this, seriously, if it's on some fabric that you can't really see over, repeating that or backstitching, do it. It saves you so much time. Got one more. Okay, so now when I take this off of there, you can see that I've got that nice, perfect circle that I can then build on. And I could take this out and make a 24-inch or 25-inch mandala or something like that. Because all I got to do is either use this same template, figure out where the spot is, and you can see I could put that right there. And I could come over and I could go right in between it. And I could build this out. I think this would be really a pretty one to then prepare for it, so you can use template method. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little thing, which happens to be the circle from the Starry Nights, which I know you can probably, because I think they've released some of these by themselves now, or maybe in a smaller set. And I'm going to put it so that it sets right on top of there. So I just find where I want it. Move it to the next one. And again, it's so easy to line all of these up. Well, I went like 3.5 times there, but I'm in a live. So what I'm going to show you here is you don't have to leave them like that. I could put more in here, or I can just have one more in between here. And honestly, I'll tell you, where I'm lining up, I could have drawn my lines in between. I'm just coming clear back here. And right between there would be where it needs to be. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to line up clear back there. So hopefully that helps you understand why I designed this tool, because of the fact that a lot of the things that we do in rotation, we can save a lot of time in the measurement part of it. Because if you want to look at this, if I was doing something very large, look how far out I've got that from my center. And I can just work my way around that large design. So I've been having a lot of fun with this. I just got mine probably about a month ago, and I've been gone a lot, so I haven't had as much chance to play with it. But I will tell you, there's going to be some designs coming, because I know how much fun I'm having using some of the templates that we already have, just because they're ready. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. I do apologize for my little bit of coughing spell there, but I wanted to be with you. So I said, I'm not going to cancel because of a little cough. I'll make it through. And I think we have. So remember, I believe the filler paddle was, I know it was done this week. You can still watch that. Go to the Sew Steady page, or probably to the Sew Steady YouTube, because we had one on Wednesday, one Thursday, one Friday, and Angel Wings was yesterday. Filler paddle, I believe, was on Wednesday. And what did we do on Thursday? That's terrible that I don't even remember what we did. Somebody tell me. Does anybody else remember what we did on Thursday? So anyway, we'll make it a surprise. So thank you so much, you guys. And I know I'm going to have some things before Christmas, but we won't have another first Saturday. So we'll see you in the new year. And please enjoy your family during this Christmas time. Thank you. Bye now.